We're on the ground in California as wildfires explode across the West. Fire departments with slowly depleting resources stretched to the limit as they fight what's now the biggest wildfire this year. Plus,
so this is the first time I've ever experienced something like this before.
Millions of airline passengers nationwide were impacted by that global IT outage that rocked CrowdStrike. The U.S. Department of Transportation deeming the meltdown controllable. Why that could mean consumers may be entitled to reimbursements, plus how to get them. And
she's with me now, quite upset. The weapon is here.
We go inside the shocking murder case of the ballerina who is on trial. The beautiful dancer being questioned in court and in the public as the world tries to figure out if the death of her husband of just 13 days was murder or self-defense. Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Ramos, in for Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We are following those stories and much more. Plus, new details on the police killing of an unarmed woman in Illinois, Sonya Massey. What an autopsy now says led to her death, including the new confirmation from the FBI just in tonight, silencing those questions on what exactly hit former President Donald Trump's ear in that rally. The billions of dollars Paris just spent to host the Summer Games. We break down the numbers to see who is already losing out on millions. And they are the dynamic duo Marvel fans around the world have been clamoring for. We sit down with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as they take on their iconic roles of Deadpool and Wolverine. But we begin with that wildfire emergency in the West. More than 100 large fires raging in a dozen states, thousands forced to evacuate, some homes already lost, and air quality alerts for millions. California's Park Fire racing across 278 square miles, an area larger than Chicago. This time lapse here capturing its massive fire whirl, spinning like a tornado. The flames devouring homes and other structures, at least 134 destroyed, and more than 4,000 people are under mandatory evacuation orders. A car seen here overtaken by fire, exploding in a ball of flames. Firefighters struggling to get the upper hand in these terrible conditions with massive tankers battling the flames from the air. And tonight, a sad loss at the scene of another fire in eastern Oregon. A single-engine air tanker going down, taking the life of the pilot. Kana Whitworth leads us off in Butte County, California.
Tonight, apocalyptic scenes of destruction as the fast-moving Park Fire rages out of control. California fire officials say at least 134 homes and other buildings have been burned to the ground. Thousands more threatened. The fire doubling in size overnight. Cal Fire using every available asset. These massive DC-10s dumping waves of retardant on flames.
Look at right there. So they're doing major phos-check drops in this area because this fire continues to jump its major containment lines. So they're relying heavily on this air attack right now.
More than 4,000 already under evacuation orders, and that number growing by the hour.
You have to be prepared to go.
Firefighters from all over the state working 36-hour shifts. Our Jacqueline Lee at base camp.
When you're on the front lines, what are you seeing?
We're seeing, it's walls of fire. It's extreme fire behavior. It's very hot. We're seeing a lot of civilians who are scared for their homes.
Paul and Janet Mallory made it out safely. The last they heard, their home was still standing.
I couldn't believe it because I was fully prepared that our house was gone, and I just thought, you know, it's a house. We're safe, we're alive.
And now, warnings for Paradise, the town devastated by the 2018 Camp Fire, the deadliest wildfire in California history. Authorities say the Park Fire was started on purpose by 42-year-old convicted sex offender Ronnie Stout, allegedly setting his mother's Toyota Yaris on fire and pushing it down an embankment. He's being held without bail. Authorities in eastern Oregon finding a firefighting plane today. It had gone missing near the Falls Fire. The pilot did not survive.
And Stephanie, you can see those trees are on fire there in the distance. This is an example of this fire running uphill, which is a major concern for firefighters. Stephanie, one fire official told me this fire is burning aggressively and angry in all the right places. I mean, some of this forest hasn't burned in decades. And so not only are they battling these flames, but they're also battling triple-digit temperatures as well. Stephanie?
Kana, thank you so much. Tonight, we've got new details in on what exactly hit former President Donald Trump's ear during that deadly rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The FBI telling ABC News in a statement, quote, what struck former President Trump in the ear was a bullet, whether whole or fragmented into smaller pieces, fired from the deceased subject's rifle. That declaration coming after days of questions, and it comes the same day Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu traveled to Mar-a-Lago today to meet with former President Trump, coming just 24 hours after Netanyahu met with President Biden and Vice President Harris. And also the same day, Harris announced a big endorsement. Selena Wang will have more on that, but first, Terry Moran has more on that Mar-a-Lago meeting.
Now I'm honored. Come on.
Today, a warm greeting from Donald Trump for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago. The two men meeting face to face after 3 years of frosty relations, ever since Netanyahu congratulated Joe Biden for beating Trump in 2020, infuriating Trump, who to this day denies he lost that election. Trump and Netanyahu briefly took questions in a darkly lit room. The prime minister was asked about the ceasefire hostage release deal in Gaza that's been in the works for nearly 2 months.
Do you feel like after this trip, Mr. Prime Minister, we're any closer to a ceasefire deal?
I hope so, but I think time will tell. We're certainly eager to have one, and we're working on it. Mr. President.
The Mar-a-Lago meeting comes one day after Netanyahu was in the White House meeting with the president and Vice President Kamala Harris over ceasefire efforts. Harris telling Netanyahu it's time for this war to end.
Israel has a right to defend itself, and how it does so matters.
Harris has been trying to walk a fine line, supporting Biden's negotiating efforts and Israel's right to defend itself, while lamenting the terrible toll the war has taken on Gaza and its people.
We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent.
Netanyahu was asked how Harris's remarks may have impacted negotiations on the deal.
I think to the extent that Hamas understands that there's no daylight between Israel and the United States, that expedites the deal. And I would hope that those comments don't change that.
Trump weighing in, blasting Harris as a, quote, radical and a destroyer.
I think her remarks were disrespectful. They weren't very nice, pertaining to Israel.
Terry Moran joins us now. Terry, what's next for former President Trump as he heads back on the campaign trail?
Well, tonight, Donald Trump has announced that he will be going back to Pennsylvania, back to Butler, Pennsylvania, the very site where he survived an assassination attempt just 2 weeks ago. Trump saying that he would be holding a rally there, in part to honor the memory of Corey Comparator, the firefighter who was killed in that shooting, shielding his family. And also, Trump says to support the other 2 victims in that shooting who were badly wounded. Stephanie?
Terry, thank you so much. Tonight, a new Wall Street Journal poll shows former President Donald Trump effectively tied with Vice President Kamala Harris in a 2024 matchup. This comes as the Trump campaign is now having second thoughts about a debate, and as Vice President Harris received a major endorsement today from former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang.
Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris wrapping up her first week on the campaign trail and locking in a crucial endorsement.
Kamala!
Hello. Hi! Former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama throwing their weight behind Harris's campaign.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
It comes as Donald Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, faces backlash over remarks he made 3 years ago about Kamala Harris and other Democratic leaders.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives.
In newly resurfaced comments first reported by ABC, Vance argued people without children should pay higher taxes.
We need to reward the things that we think are good and punish the things that we think are bad. If you're making $100,000, $400,000 a year, and you've got 3 kids, you should pay a different, lower tax rate than if you're making the same amount of money and you don't have any kids. It's that simple.
Today, Vance doubling down, defending his past remarks.
This is not about criticizing people who, for various reasons, didn't have kids. This is about criticizing the Democratic Party for becoming anti-family and anti-child.
The Biden administration supports expanding the child tax credit again, but the effort has stalled amid opposition from some Republicans in Congress. With this race now reset, Harris says she wants to debate Donald Trump.
I'm ready. Let's go.
But after agreeing to a second debate with President Biden, the Trump campaign now backtracking, saying it would be inappropriate to schedule things with Harris because Democrats very well could still change their minds. Harris calling Trump out on his own words, asking what happened to debating anytime, any place when the candidate was President Biden.
A lot has certainly happened in just the last 5 days. Selena Wang joins us now. And Selena, what do we know about where Vice President Harris is in the process of choosing a vice presidential pick?
Well, I'm told that vetting is underway, but time here is running out. I'm told the vice president wants to make her decision by August 7th, and she's still considering a pool of about a dozen candidates. I'm told that she is looking for someone who shares the same values as her, who is ready to be a governing partner and get to work on day one. But Stephanie, the clock is ticking.
I'm sure we'll find out soon who she chooses. Thank you so much, Selena. Good to see you. Overseas tonight, the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics went off as planned, despite a coordinated attempt to disrupt it. The first ever opening ceremony to take place beyond the confines of a stadium, amplifying the security challenge with athletes sailing down the River Seine. Hours earlier, arsonists attacked multiple high-speed train lines, French authorities calling it sabotage. ABC's James Longman is in Paris tonight.
Tonight, coordinated arson attacks on the French rail system have caused travel chaos just hours before the opening ceremony in Paris. French authorities have called it an act of sabotage to cut off critical rail routes into the city from all directions. Incendiary devices set fire to signal boxes along 3 of France's most important high-speed train lines. It'll impact more than 800,000 people through the weekend. A 4th arson attempt in the south thwarted by rail workers who scared off several suspects.
The police force are looking after, of course, the people who have committed this assault against the French network.
2 out of 4 trains carrying athletes to Paris were stopped hours before the ceremony. Some athletes were even turned back because of the closures. Commuter Lou Flippo was caught in the chaos with her 2 young children, stuck in Montparnasse train station for hours. She says she's very stressed and scared. So far, no claim of responsibility tonight, but it comes after French authorities say they've already foiled several plots to disrupt the Summer Games. Authorities closing 90 miles of airspace over Paris for the opening ceremony, which for the first time ever took place outside a stadium along the River Seine. 75,000 security personnel on guard as a flotilla of 85 boats carried thousands of athletes nearly 4 miles west down the river. In torrential rain, they sailed past iconic landmarks, including Notre Dame Cathedral, the Louvre, and finally, the Eiffel Tower.
Well, huge numbers of engineers are working to try to fix those rail lines. They'll be working through the weekend. The disruption will last through Monday at least. Stephanie?
James in Paris for us tonight. Thank you. The coroner who examined the body of the Illinois woman fatally shot by a deputy while responding to her 911 call has ruled her death a homicide. An autopsy report released concluded that she died from a gunshot wound to the head. The Sangamon County coroner confirmed with ABC News that it was a homicide. The deputy who shot her, Sean Grayson, was fired from his job and has pleaded not guilty to several charges, including first-degree murder. Justin Timberlake will now be rearraigned on a charge of driving while intoxicated in the Hamptons last month. The singer was pulled over for allegedly running a stop sign and swerving. In court today, Timberlake's lawyer sought to get the drunken driving charge dismissed, citing errors in documents submitted by the police. But the judge instead ordered a rearraignment to take place next week. Timberlake will be allowed to appear virtually. He is currently on tour in Europe. His appearance today was waived. His attorney insists Timberlake was not intoxicated. Now to that major win for U.S. law enforcement. 2 kingpins of a notorious Mexican drug cartel are under arrest tonight after boarding a plane they thought was bound for a Mexican airfield. One suspect helped start the Sinaloa drug cartel, the other, one of El Chapo's sons. Here's ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, 2 leaders of the world's most vicious and prolific drug cartel now in U.S. custody. One of the co-founders of the Sinaloa cartel, Ismael Zambada, known as El Mayo, and the son of the notorious drug lord El Chapo, Joaquin Guzman Lopez, were arrested near El Paso, Texas, in what can only be described as a clever trap.
The Justice Department will not rest until every single cartel leader, member, and associate responsible for poisoning our communities is held accountable.
According to sources familiar with the investigation, Zambada was lured on a trip he thought was to inspect airfields in northern Mexico. But it turned out to be a flight to an airstrip inside the U.S. near El Paso. Agents of Homeland Security Investigations and the FBI were there to arrest him when he landed. Sources telling ABC News El Mayo, who pleaded not guilty to drug trafficking charges at his first court appearance today in El Paso, was tricked by someone he trusted. Authorities declined to offer additional reportable details. And tonight we've learned that El Chapo's son was secretly flown to Chicago. His status unclear. Overnight, officials at the FBI, Homeland Security, the DEA, and Justice Department headquarters celebrated the stunning operation. The Sinaloa cartel is responsible for shipping thousands of pounds of cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl into the U.S. every single day. Fentanyl killing tens of thousands of Americans each year.
And Pierre Thomas joins us now. Pierre, what kind of impact are U.S. officials hoping these arrests will have on the organization?
Well, they hope the arrest of the 2 leaders will cause chaos and hamper the cartel. But Stephanie, they privately admit this is a hard organization to kill.
Pierre Thomas for us there in Washington. Thank you so much, Pierre.
Pleasure.
When Venezuelans head to the polls Sunday, they will have the best chances in a generation to break the chain of populist dictatorships that have turned one of South America's wealthiest countries into one of the poorest. Beginning with President Hugo Chavez in 1999 and continuing with Nicolás Maduro today, Venezuela's oil production is now only a quarter of what it once was, further crippled by economic sanctions. The UN estimates that 8 million Venezuelans have fled, many having the goal of finding work and a peaceful life here in the United States. Joining us now is Venezuelan political analyst Liz Rebecca Alarcón. Liz, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Maduro is seeking his third 6-year term. Almost all pollsters have him losing to his main opponent, Edmundo González. Can this election be free and fair?
You know, these elections are going to be with results that are too big to steal. We know that Edmundo and Maria Corina have the popular vote, and we also know that conditions in Venezuela are not free and fair. But what we have seen in these elections is that the groundswell of support, the on-the-ground operations to monitor the polls and to really build an excitement and a conviction to get out the vote on Sunday is what has so much international attention on this moment where Maduro is going to be under watch.
And Liz, you mentioned Maduro's main opponent, Maria Corina Machado, who had been his main opponent. Can you tell us what happened to her?
The Maduro government made her ineligible for reasons that are not legal and cannot be verified. It's the whim of dictators, as we know, who are seeing a real challenge by someone who has the support from the people. And so the images of her that you all just showed is her accompanying the person who is on the ballot, who is a retired diplomat, and they are essentially running as a ticket.
And what's been the reaction to Machado having to kind of step away from this race?
I think people have had faith in all of her moves. She has not been naive. She knows that this is a difficult battle. And so this is not the first candidate she has had to bring along with her as she campaigns in the last several months. It's the second, actually. We know that the Maduro regime has continuously taken away the ability of other opposition leaders to run. And through all of that, Maria Corina stays steadfast in uniting all Venezuelans and with a commitment to push this electoral space to be one where the people will speak what they want, which is a change beyond the Maduro regime that we've seen the last 25 years.
And Liz, you and I both know Maduro still has a tight grip on most parts of the government and the courts. If he loses, what are the chances he will cede power peacefully?
Maduro and his cronies can be let, quote unquote, off the hook with some sort of a pardon because of all the crimes that they've committed that will incentivize them to leave power. We also know that Chavismo has control of all of the other factions of government beyond the presidency. And so there's also a possibility where there is a shared power structure and where the opposition will be able to gain spaces like the presidency and have to move slowly to be able to govern in coalition with those still in the government. I see all of those as likely and important and viable solutions. We'll see what happens, though.
We certainly will. We will all be watching this weekend. Latin America political analyst Liz Rebecca Alarcón, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you all for having me.
The town of Scurrytown, Texas, has declared a disaster following a staggering 61 earthquakes in 7 days. Officials say the strongest was felt today. It was a magnitude 5.1 quake near Snyder, Texas, about 80 miles southeast of Lubbock. Some damage was reported, but no injuries. It was also the strongest earthquake in state history. The company that owns Boar's Head Products is recalling more than 200,000 pounds of deli meats as it investigates a listeria outbreak. According to the U.S. Agriculture Department, this includes all of the brand's liverwurst that may also be contaminated with the bacteria. The agency said a sample of Boar's Head liverwurst from a Maryland store did test positive for listeria. The outbreak has sickened nearly 36 people in 13 states and caused at least 2 deaths. We still have much more to get to here on Prime. Next up, the Black Swan murder trial. A ballerina turned murder defendant accused of gunning down her husband. She claims self-defense, but prosecutors say he was killed in cold blood.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. On June 10th, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack. I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. From then on, my career and the career of everyone who was involved was branded to the Brat Pack.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I've never talked to anybody about what that was like. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who was in the Brat Pack. Hey, Emilio Estevez. This is Andrew McCarthy calling you. Hey, Allie. Hey, Demi. Hey, Molly. Let's call Rob. Hello? Judd? Me? You around? You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack for years.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because you called me. It was time that we clear the air on a couple of things.
I love your stuff, Bob. Hey, thank you. I hated the Brat Pack for decades. What a disaster. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you?
It really irritated me. They said, what's more important to you, the movie or your life? And I said,
the movie!
Andrew.
Have you talked to the others? The others, like, again, it feels like a cult or something.
Yeah. Why did we take it as an offense?
Well,
As opposed to
like
the
brat.
Because we were young.
We were afraid we were brats, you know? Are you in the Brat Pack?
I'm Brat Pack adjacent.
That's what I was saying.
I am not in the Brat Pack.
Don't you? Crush on you back in the day? You did not, Andrew. No, you did not.
Being in the Brat Pack not only changed all of our lives, it changed what entertainment is. I mean, I'm not gonna say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985. I think we could have.
So what are you filming?
Oh, we're just doing this documentary.
What's it about?
Ancient history.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
Susan Powell was a young, beautiful mother. She just one night vanished.
Where is Susan?
July 29th, making sure that if something happens to me, our assets are documented.
Josh, Did you kill your wife? And I'll never forget the first time that I met him. A chill just like raced up through my spine. I just shook the hand of a killer.
Now, stunning details.
He ends up revealing the biggest bombshell.
What will happen next? 2020, tonight at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Welcome back. Jury deliberations are expected to begin next week in the explosive murder trial that has rocked the posh community of Lakewood Ranch, Florida. Ashley and Doug Benefield once seemed to have an idyllic life, but their whirlwind romance spun into arguments, accusations, and finally, the unthinkable. It seemed like a fairy tale. A beautiful ballerina, seen here dancing in the Nutcracker for the Maryland Youth Ballet, swept off her feet by a dashing older man. Married after only 13 days, Doug and Ashley Benefield seemed like they had it all. But less than 4 years later, Doug would be dead and Ashley charged with murder. Her trial in this Florida courtroom dubbed the Black Swan murder trial.
The only person standing in your way is you.
After the movie starring Natalie Portman.
Because of your ballet background, some people have labeled you the Black Swan.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
I think what it comes down to is that the Black Swan has a catchy ring and it sensationalizes my life and my situation. And so they ran with it. And it's sad to me that people who don't even know me have this idea of a monster when they think of me.
Doug and Ashley met in 2016 at a political event. They instantly connected despite their 30-year age difference. Doug was a recently widowed father to a teenage daughter, Eva. At her stepmother's trial, Eva testified about the early days of their romance.
They were just with each other all the time. It was very lovey-dovey. They never left each other's side.
Doug even reversed his vasectomy so he and Ashley could have a child together. But their whirlwind romance started to crumble. The ballet company they started together failed. Soon, their marriage fell apart.
Ms. Benefield was alleging that Doug had been violent toward her. She alleged that he had hit the dog, fired a gun into the ceiling. The biggest allegation was that he was poisoning her and their child in utero with heavy metals.
In text messages submitted as evidence, Doug admitted to shooting a gun in the home, writing, "I shot the gun. How many times did I tell you I was having a nervous breakdown?" And punching their dog after an argument about his daughter. "I punched the dog because you got me so mad, like you wouldn't stop about Eva, always Eva." Ashley sat down exclusively with 2020 co-anchor Deborah Roberts just before her trial began.
How are you doing?
It depends on the moment. Yeah, there's good days and rough days, good moments and rough moments.
You haven't spoken out before. Why did you decide to talk now?
I'm really doing it for other people. Because I know I'm not alone in this. There are women all over the country, all over the world, who have gone through or are going through hard situations behind closed doors. Until you have been there or it's someone that you know and care about, it's not something that you think about.
While pregnant with the couple's daughter, Ashley moved to Florida. Doug's former attorney testifying Ashley didn't tell Doug when she had the baby.
Gosh, we didn't know for a good 5 or 6 weeks after she was born.
He only found out when Ashley filed a restraining order.
And so on May 6th, I saw that Ms. Benefield had filed a petition for protection against domestic violence. And in that filing, there was, she identified the birth date of the child, as well as, I think, the child's name, which is the first time we learned about that, too. Okay.
In opening statements, prosecutors claiming Ashley wanted Doug out of her life so she could raise their daughter alone.
This case is about a woman who very early on in her pregnancy decided she wanted to be a single mother. When there was no other option, she shoots him and kills him and claims self-defense.
But Ashley's attorney countering that she was trapped in an abusive relationship.
Doug Benefield was a manipulative, cunning, and abusive man who absolutely insisted on control.
Doug's cousin Tommy also sitting down with 2020.
I'm here today to tell Doug's story because he's not here. We want to tell the truth. We want to acknowledge his flaws, his mistakes like he did, but we want him to be remembered for the great human man that he was.
Things came to a head on September 27, 2020. Doug was helping Ashley load a U-Haul at her mother's house. They were planning on moving to Maryland, with Doug living separately. According to court documents filed by the defense, Ashley says Doug struck her, hitting her on the side of her head, and then tried to keep her from leaving the room. The clinical psychologist who had previously evaluated Ashley and Doug testifying.
When I saw her after the incident, there was edema, swelling on the side of her face.
Ashley claims she feared for her life and shot him multiple times in self-defense before running to her neighbor's house.
She's with me now, quite upset. The weapon is here. We need the police before her mother and the little girl gets back from the park. I don't want them to find this.
Now 32, Ashley choking back tears as jurors heard that 911 call.
She came in, she was quite hysterical. I didn't know who was banging on my door. Said that he attacked her and she shot him. They've been having trouble.
Doug's adult daughter, Eva, telling 2020 she doesn't believe it was self-defense.
If it was self-defense, why did she shoot multiple times, you know? If I was defending myself in a situation, I would shoot once and I wouldn't shoot to kill. I wouldn't take a life away.
In court, the medical examiner testified that the gun was fired from at least 3 feet away.
I determined the manner of death to be homicide.
No one is disagreeing that Doug Benefield died at the hands of another. The question is whether or not that death was justified by what Ashley Benefield perceived in that moment.
There was always this little thought in the back of my head that said Ashley's going to do something to him. Ashley's going to sabotage him somehow. So when that happened, I was obviously shocked, but that little voice in the back of my head said I was right. She did. She killed him.
Outside court, advocates for survivors of domestic violence have rallied around Ashley, including her mother and daughter Emerson, now 6 years old.
But we want the truth. We want everything out there so people will see that Ashley is not guilty for what they say she is.
The defense is going to put on witnesses and evidence to try to argue that she had reason to fear for her life based on the months and years of abuse.
The jury of 5 women and 1 man are expected to begin deliberating Ashley's fate next week.
You could possibly go to jail for a very long time.
It's a horrible reality. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. Emerson's already been through a lot. I can't imagine how this would affect her if things were to go poorly at trial.
We still have much more to get to on Prime. Coming up, a look at climate change and the impact it's having on our children's health. But next, the billions of dollars Paris just spent to host the Summer Games. Is it worth it? We break down the numbers to see who is already losing out on millions.
It was a regular day for 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
She went to meet her mom at a bowling church league, but she never makes it into the bowling alley. Something terrible had happened to her. Melissa was a good kid. She had big dreams for her life.
And then she disappears.
My gut knew this was not a young girl who just took off and ran away.
New information into the disappearance of Melissa Witt. Pools of blood were found by detectives.
We were sick to our stomachs.
I'd just love to have her back more than anything in the world.
It is a heart-wrenching day for the family of 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
Police found the body in the Ozark National Forest.
You had several suspects.
All these kinds of leads. Who could have done this?
You have a known serial killer in your area.
Could he be involved?
Find the evidence, find the DNA profile.
We had to find that person. Time was of the essence.
Every blood spot matters. Every piece of DNA matters. You're looking for that game-changing piece.
We're actually finding key evidence that could have slipped through the cracks.
One of our guys says, you're going to see this.
And there's another one.
What could be underneath these headstones? Her last hours on this earth were probably the most horrific a person can experience.
This beautiful young girl. Police will find out what happened.
At wit's end, the hunt for a killer. Only on Hulu.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
They call him the Beauty Queen Killer. He's targeting young women in malls.
I am single. I want to enjoy the company of a member of women.
He tortured me.
How did she survive 9 days of terror?
The word accomplice came up. Nobody knows the real story.
The Beauty Queen Killer. Only on Hulu.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning. To catch you up with what happened overnight. Police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
Here's to good mornings in America.
Can you feel the love?
Oh, yeah.
Mornings that inspire, filled with hope, kindness, joyous surprises, and so much fun.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Start your day with Good Morning America's ray of sunshine, highlighting the best of America and helping
make dreams come true.
Wow. I'm just so happy. It's so good.
Get ready to smile and put the good into your morning, America, because
You know what will make the morning better? A little ray of sunshine.
Reporting from the Normandy coast for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
As the best athletes around the world go for the gold in Paris, let's take a look at what it cost for the City of Lights to host the Summer Games. By the numbers, $9.7 billion. That is roughly how much France's capital spent to host the 2024 Summer Olympics, according to an S&P Global Ratings report. That's roughly 25% over the initial budget. And while nearly every city is set to go over budget when preparing to host world-class athletes, it is far cheaper than the 2014 Sochi Winter Games in Russia. Officials there spent a whopping $28.9 billion, the costliest games ever. And while the economic impact won't be known for quite some time, a recent study commissioned by the organizers predicted the Paris Olympics would bring in a $12 billion boost. Perhaps if you consider the record 9.7 million tickets that have been sold for the games. But analysts say the high cost of travel to Paris are leaving many hotels with vacant rooms, something that's not really typical in the high summer season. In fact, Delta says it's taking a $100 million hit as many planes land with empty seats. And a lack of tourists are certainly hurting local businesses. One French shop owner told ABC she estimates business is down 30% compared to this same time last year. We still have much more to get to here on Prime. Were you or someone you know among the thousands of passengers impacted by the worldwide IT outage? Know your compensation rights, what you can and cannot be reimbursed for. Plus, the wait is finally over for Marvel fans. ABC sits down with actors Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, who open up about their already record-breaking new blockbuster.
wherever news breaks. It's so important to always remember that lives are changed.
Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas,
Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw.
Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City.
Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Raleigh, North Carolina. The U.S. Capitol. Mayfield, Kentucky.
Minneapolis.
Mexico. Tongass National Forest, Alaska.
Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
There was a specific moment during our wedding. I looked at Jason and I realized this was real. This was our family.
This is her knight in shining armor.
Everything felt right. All of a sudden, I found this hidden folder. I opened it, and I don't think I can say it. I'm sorry.
She put her hand to her mouth and, gasped.
Jason would kill me before he would let me tell anyone this part of him. He's in so much freaking trouble.
I remember just feeling like, what the hell? That was my dad. What is going on?
That's when that fire inside of me shifted to like a flame. I was like, it's on.
Betrayal is one of the hardest types of trauma to overcome.
He didn't think I had it in me to do something. So I did.
Betrayal, a Father's Secret, the all-new season, only on Hulu.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Money. Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here.
It's always a good time.
That's what the show's about.
That's good.
Really good.
Very good.
Coming in hot. Jimmy coming in hot.
It's far from elementary.
Oh.
Good morning, America. I'm not going to try to strut like Michael or anything.
I have known George a long, long time.
Have you ever gotten him to dance?
Look at that face.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be here.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'm in.
That tells you something when Snoop Dogg's in. Michael, George, Lara, Ginger.
Welcome back to ABC News Live Prime. The U.S. Department of Transportation has now deemed the ill-fated CrowdStrike Software update that caused the cancellation of thousands of flights controllable. That designation means some airline customers should now be reimbursed for certain expenses. Jason Knowles from our Chicago partner station WLS has the details.
You could have been stuck out of town when the CrowdStrike outage halted several airlines last week. In the mass confusion, travel experts say you may not have known what those airlines should have been doing for you.
What are your rights?
The Department of Transportation has ruled this as a controllable event. So airlines are on the hook to get you home if you're currently on a trip, or to find you an alternate flight to get you to your destination. And they are supposed to, in most cases, pay for reasonable expenses such as lodging and food along the way.
If an airline did not automatically cover your hotel, food, or other transportation, make sure your listed expenses are reasonable. The airline can reject your request or only cover a partial amount if you spent too much money on a luxury hotel or black car.
Save your receipts. That's always a good idea to be able to submit. Check out the travel credit card or the credit card that you use to book your travel with.
Katie Nastro from the travel website Going says many of those travel credit cards may be able to help compensate you quickly. Dan Green from the travel insurance company Fay says travel insurance would also cover many of those expenses if you don't want to take your chances with the airline. He says flyers also need to be thinking ahead.
Just having enough things on you that you can go a day or two if things go sideways can really make a huge difference in your sanity and happiness.
And here's a tip to put money in your pocket. Whether the event is deemed controllable, like CrowdStrike, or if it's an uncontrollable weather event, U.S. DOT says if your domestic flight is delayed over 3 hours or an international flight delayed 6 hours or more, you get your cash back.
You are entitled to request a refund for your unused ticket back to your method of payment or get rebooked on a new flight.
Our thanks to Jason Knowles in Chicago. Our next guest is a pediatrician on the front lines of climate change, and after treating children for 15 years in Reno, Nevada, the fastest warming city in the United States, she is sounding the alarm on the health and future of children who she says are most vulnerable to the climate crisis. Dr. Deborah Hendrickson joins us to discuss her book, The Air They Breathe, a pediatrician on the front lines of climate change. Welcome, Dr. Hendrickson. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start at the beginning. Yeah, when did you start noticing the effects of climate change on young patients? In what ways did you see it was affecting their health?
Yeah, so it was really about 10 years ago when we started experiencing the smoke from the mega fires in California. I was taking care of a little girl who had come in. She had a history of some wheezing, and she was only about 10 months old. And it just really struck me that these global events were affecting this one little girl in my clinic. And I thought it would be really interesting to zoom out from that moment and talk about those global events, as well as kind of zoom into the microscopic level and talk about the health impacts on a young child.
And talk about how you landed on the title of the book, The Air They Breathe.
Yeah, so one of the themes I try to, the points I try to make in the book is that it's really impossible to separate children's health from the quality of the environment. You know, their lungs are shaped by the quality of air they breathe, for example. And, whenever we take a breath, we're actually pulling the atmosphere into our lungs.
We are getting into peak wildfire season, and just today there are dozens and dozens of wildfires burning in the West. Talk about wildfire smoke, and particularly the danger children face as we are seeing more of these wildfires and smoke as well, blanketing more parts of the country each year.
Right. So the most dangerous pollutant in wildfire smoke is particulates. So these are these tiny specks of soot and liquid droplets that are often adhered or stuck to toxic chemicals and heavy metals. And they're very inflammatory for the body. And so young children, 80% of lung growth happens after birth. The other risk of these particulates is that they pass, the very tiny ones, the fine and ultrafine particles, pass through the lungs into the bloodstream and can travel to any organ of the body. And in young developing children, the brain is the other organ you worry about a lot.
What can families with children do to protect these kids, especially families that are out west that are dealing with this consistently?
So if you have a central air conditioner, you can get what's called a MERV 13 filter, which is a heavy-duty filter that will filter out a lot of the particles. You can get freestanding air filters you put in different rooms of the house, or you can construct them out of instructions that are available online. You can, when you go outdoors, it's a good idea to wear an N95 mask.
That's some really good advice. Now, in recent years, we have seen more youth across the globe vocalizing their fears about the effects of global warming. Most notably, Greta Thunberg, who as a teenager in 2018 demanded the world take action against the climate crisis. What unique perspective do you think children bring to the climate crisis conversation?
Well, one of the reasons they're so at risk, of course, is just because of their age. They're going to have a lot more years in front of them. It is a moral crisis for that reason, because, the most powerful people on Earth have made decisions that have handed off this problem to the youngest people who had nothing to do with causing this crisis. So we all have an obligation to do what we can to protect them. I mean, the good news is there's a lot we can do to try to curtail fossil fuel emissions over the next 10 years. This decade is extremely important, and that's one reason I think young people are very active about this issue.
And any small act matters. Dr. Hendrickson, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate your insights. Your book, The Air They Breathe, a pediatrician on the front lines of climate change, is out now. Attention all Marvel fans, this is a moment you have been waiting for many years. The teaming up of two fan favorite characters with very different personalities. Ahead of the release of Deadpool and Wolverine, actors Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds sat down with our Rhiannon Alley to talk about their highly anticipated action comedy film.
Don't just stand there, you ape. Give me a hand up. Nope. I'm actually okay. Thank you very much.
It's the mashup Marvel fans have been waiting for. Deadpool and Wolverine joining forces in one of this summer's hottest blockbusters.
It is the most wholesome R-rated movie. And that, to me, was the highest compliment I've heard about this whole process.
Did you think it was wholesome, Hugh?
No, he's right.
But will viewers agree? It's Marvel's first R-rated movie, and the claws are out. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine like you've never seen him before.
Come again.
And Ryan Reynolds as the witty, yet raunchy, mutant hero Deadpool.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick-tick, so upsy-daisy. Here we go.
Off-screen, it's non-stop laughter to the point of tears.
This, by the way, I love. Thank you for illustrating.
This is a Disney company. This is apparently this.
But now you asked what was it like every day?
Yeah, this is what it was like
Exhibit
every
A.
day.
Stuff now.
Sorry.
So, what made you finally wear an honest-to-God costume? Mine's red, so they can't see me bleed. But I could see how yellow would be useful, too.
Director Sean Levy telling us what it's like to work with these two megastars.
This is what it's like on set every day, right?
How'd you get any work done, Sean?
Barely did. Barely did like 2 shots a day.
Yes.
The rest was banter.
We're still shooting the film.
The fun part is, as you can tell, these are dear friends in real life. And Wolverine and Deadpool, they're at each other's throats for a lot of the movie.
It's the third installment in the popular franchise where Deadpool enlists the help of Wolverine to save his world from extinction.
Why would I go with you?
Because, unfortunately, I need you. And even more unfortunately, my entire world needs you.
It's a movie that almost didn't happen after Jackman declared back in 2017 that he would never play Wolverine again, following the release of Logan, his final film in the Wolverine trilogy.
Logan, you still have time.
But in 2022, he had an epiphany.
I actually saw Deadpool 1 3 days after announcing I was done. I was like, it might have been premature. Because I could see it 2 years ago, August 14th, 2022, randomly driving my car, like going, I've got to do it. So I rang him.
No one calls anyone. I was like, is Hugh dead? But how is he? If he's dead, how's he calling? But it turns out he was fine. He just really wanted to hang out.
And while previous Deadpool movies have gently poked fun at Wolverine,
but it does rhyme with pulverine.
The film is the first collab with the two A-list Hollywood stars.
There are so many Wolverine and Hugh references in the first and second film. That tiny music box at the start of the second film.
I still have it. One of my most prized possessions.
You haven't given it to Hugh?
No. Screw that guy. Oh, hi. Sorry, I didn't see you there.
Were all of those moments in those first two films leading up to this film?
I guess so. I mean, I don't want to turn this into a, friggin' TED Talk where I was like, see, this is how I did it. Deadpool and Ryan, both a little obsessed with Hugh/Logan and Wolverine. So it felt like the perfect matchup.
So you just confirmed you are obsessed with Hugh Jackman.
I think everybody knows that. Not everybody's seen my tasteful lower back tattoo of Hugh.
Are you gonna show us?
I'm one step from a restraining order here.
Reynolds has come a long way since his early days, starring in Blade Trinity in 2004.
What the hell makes you think you know about hunting vampires?
Just for starters, I used to be one.
The Hollywood heartthrob met actress Blake Lively on the set of Green Lantern in 2010.
I see it. You had the ability to overcome fear.
The couple then married in 2012 and have 4 kids together. Jackman, one of the most dynamic performers of our time, and at 55 is still making gory fight scenes like this look easy, while captivating audiences on Broadway and as P.T. Barnum in the film The Greatest Showman.
So tell me, do you want to go?
The latest film in the Deadpool franchise marks many firsts for Disney.
Was there ever a moment where you thought this might be too much for Disney? It is the first R-rated Marvel film.
It's such a tempting narrative to say that, like, you know, it was a uphill battle, we had to grind them, and no, they were amazing.
There were a couple of moments, Ryan, I'm going to be completely honest, off camera, and I'm watching, and Ryan is saying some lines, and I'm like, that's not going to be in the movie. And it's in the movie. It was just you making fun of some really powerful people who were paying our salary. And somehow they love it.
Villains Cassandra Nova, played by Emma Corrin.
Boys are so silly.
And Matthew McFadden.
Walk with me.
Best known for his role on HBO's Succession.
Mr. Wilson, you appear to have soiled yourself while unconscious.
Both making their Marvel debut.
And your character, one of the deadliest villains, what was it like playing that role?
A lot of fun. Yeah, I like to say I think villains have the most fun. I think we certainly found that. I didn't have a single thing on green screen. No, all the stunts, real.
Yeah.
All the, and the sets were functional.
What do you think fans are gonna take away from this movie?
Ooh.
They're gonna go mental.
And perhaps the film's biggest superhero.
I'm here with the real star of the movie, Dogpool.
A canine genetic anomaly named Peggy.
What about Dogpool?
Peggy.
I know. Is she the real star of this movie?
Yeah, does hardly any press. She just really just like holds back everything.
Yeah, no, Peggy won this ugliest dog in Britain contest, but actually she was literally plucked from obscurity. She had never been trained. I imagine like a whole Rocky training montage with her tongue hanging out.
Rumors circulating that Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively, is playing the role of Lady Deadpool, seen at the premiere in a Deadpool-inspired outfit. Some wonder whether Deadpool and Wolverine will suit up together again.
What's the future of Deadpool and Wolverine?
I love the fact that where you get to enjoy something with everybody that you know and love, if you like, and leave with that complete story. So it's a one-off. In the middle of summer in 2024, when it's hard out there for everyone, and we get to work in a job that gets to dispense joy.
What a fun conversation. Can't wait to watch that movie. Thanks so much, Rhiannon. That is our show for tonight. I'm Stephanie Ramos. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. And of course, you can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and abcnews.com. Have a good one.